Welcome back to Surrey Build Weekly. Here we are at yet another project in Guildford that we are imminently going to be starting. Surrey Hills Scaffolding, who we always use, they are on site and they have been here for a few days erecting the scaffolding. It's quite a mammoth job, this one in particular, because although from the street view it appears to be a standard 2-storey home, it is built on a hill, so at the back there's 3 stories, so they've obviously got to take the scaffolding up high enough to put that full tin hat on so that we can provide the property with maximum protection. And here we are at the back of the property. You can really appreciate the sheer size of it and the amount of scaffolding that is required. As I mentioned, we are on a hill, so again it's going to be a bit of a tricky project in terms of access. There's lots of steps for the guys to contend with during the build, but because we are on a hill, the client, once the loft is finished, is going to benefit from a stunning view of Guildford Cathedral. Now, we did the design and planning for this particular project. It was a bit of a bumpy road as the initial application was refused. We originally designed it with a full rear dormer as well as double hip to gable with that barn end detail. It was decided that it was too bulky, so it was refused. So we then presented the client with a couple of options to try and reduce the bulkiness of the appearance of the dormer. The first was having 2 separate smaller dormers, which obviously would have compromised quite a lot on the internal space that was available. So we then presented them with an option to have a stepped-in dormer. So it appears to be 2 separate dormers, but they are actually linked. So yeah, luckily that one got approved, and I'm really excited to watch it all unfold. So moving on from our new project, I'll pass you back to Lee, who's at the Mount and is going to talk to you about all of the progress that has been taking place there this week.
Now back at the Mount, we're here on the scaffolding and looking at the progress for the loft conversion. As you can see, Stacey has now installed these wonderful Eternit slates. They're a man-made product, so very slim in profile, so very lightweight for the old construction of a roof. They use a copper rivet to hold them down to stop them flexing in the heat, and also to make sure they're all aligned. We've also installed a dry ridge system using the existing ridge tiles, which the client would like us to save, just so that it ties in with a little bit of old and new. So yeah, this is looking great. We're now going to head over and show you some of the dormer work that Stacey's been doing down the side of the scaffold. So we're now around the other side of the scaffolding, under the tin hat that we put on all of our projects to make sure that we're able to work in all weathers whilst minimising the disruption to downstairs. This particular client is actually moved out, so we've got free run of the project, but 95% of our projects the client stays in. Stacey's been busy installing the OSB ply ready to receive slates and the breathable membrane. We've also done the lower roof ready to receive slates. As you can see from the flat roof section that we've got in now, we've also allowed for a gap for some breathable soffit to go in and a breathable gap above that roof. We've now got the plumbers on site too, who are installing a great new unvented cylinder so that the client has continued hot water to the new bathrooms. So before we bring this episode to a close, I've just got one more project to show you. So let's head over to the Greenway project to show you the progress. We are now back at the Greenway project in Epsom. The structure is now fully completed and the guys are now completing the insulation inside, making sure the new loft conversion is up to building regs. I'm now going to show you around. The team are doing a fantastic job on the roof here at the Greenway. We've got the 3 new Velux windows installed. The client has opted for a PK04. These are actually a special order window, just because they're not generally kept on the shelf. So we special ordered these windows for the client and have now installed them with a flashing kit around them. The client has opted for a Tudor brown tile in a Redland concrete. And that's going to be wrapped around the whole of the dormer, the side gable ends and also the barn ends. So we've got a black UPVC barge board, complete with a cemented verge. This particular property we opted for no cement undercloak. The reason being is generally the houses along here have a similar detail on the older roofs, so client wanted to maintain that older look. We've also got valley tiles that are laid inside the valley. So again, there's many different options, but again, with this particular roof, we opted for a valley tile rather than an aluminium valley, just to give a nicer, sharper finish. Again, ties in with the rest of the properties down the road. We've obviously got a cemented ridge on the corner, which used to be where the hip used to go up. That's the last remaining detail from that original roof. And then we walk down the new gable end. We've got a same detail with a black wood grain UPVC barge board, a cemented verge on this just because this is a new style of the roof, so we've opted for the cement board underneath to catch the verge. This existing chimney is actually going to require some repointing that we're speaking to the client about. It also needs raising as well because it should be 1 metre above the top point of the Velux. Just because it's a working fire. Our plumber has now installed the UPVC stack pipe and the roofers have installed the guttering and the down pipe now. Again, we've opted for a tiled gable end just to give that maintenance free over longevity for the client, rather than this be a rendered finished with paint that then requires maintenance, given that it's so high and ladders would be very tight down a small alley. We opted to tile the gable ends. We're now round onto the dormer, and again we've used the same tile throughout the project. We've got a LED flashing where the straight dormer meets the pitch section, and also a LED detail underneath the new windows that will be installed shortly. We also prefer to do the sides of the windows in an aluminium soaker. There are many different ways that you can do it, but again, I feel that that is the most for longevity and also maintenance free. We're now inside at the Greenway project and the boys have been very busy. We are now insulating the fully completed structure. So we've got 90mm Celotex going on the exterior walls. We've got 120mm in the ceiling, and then over the whole structure we'll have a 50mm Celotex finished with a plasterboard and a plastered finish. This client has opted for a sliding pocket door, and a couple of weeks ago had a meeting with the client to discuss the layout options, where we kind of changed some of the concept of the design, and we now have a shower tray here in this location with a bath just offset to the Velux window, a toilet and a basin. They then opted to have a dressing room section where they'll have some bespoke cabinetry built to ensure that the storage space in this loft conversion is fully adequate for their needs. So I'm now in the location of where the new client's bed will be situated. They've opted for sockets either side of the bed and lights that were going to be wall mounted. There's also an independent switch so that they can control the lights via the bed rather than having to go over to the doorway. They then got a storage space which is in this nice little nook of the roof, and that's going to be complete with a door be insulated, plasterboarded, and there'll be a light in there too.
So there's been lots going on this week. We've shown you around 3 of our ongoing projects, which I'm happy to say are all running smoothly. We're all working towards creating the client's dream space. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye from Mountside. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please like. And if you would like to see more, subscribe, and we will see you next week.